And whew, welcome to Coffee and Connect. I forgot my coffee, but I have my water because it's really hot here. So, I'm here with Brandy. It feels like it's way too bright. So she needs to sleep under the blankets. I think Ben is over in the window. But I wanted to offer you guys 3 different readings. It's another pick a card reading, but I'm using 3 different decks for each reading. I'm not going to tell you what they are until you actually see the reading. As always, you're welcome to watch just one, whichever one feels right, 1, 2, or 3. You're welcome to watch all of them, whatever you'd like to do. I don't really have a theme for this week's reading because there's so much going on this week. So on Wednesday, Mercury goes retrograde in Cancer. So if you're familiar with astrology, Mercury rules travel, technology, communication, kind of thinking, like the way that we kind of form our thoughts. And so because it's going to be in Cancer, Cancer is a emotional sign. Cancer is more nurturing. So depending on your placements, like this is going to affect you a little bit differently, you know, depending on where your Mercury is, like, but this is a good time to be aware of your emotions when you're having conversations. Like if there's self-talk that comes up that is really emotional, just be aware that that is probably influenced by Mercury in Cancer. I think Mercury is going to be retrograde from, I think, the 17th, 18th of June until July 12th. So about 3.5 weeks. Mercury retrograde is also not a good time to sign contracts. If you have any like important conversations that you need to have, just kind of take some time before you have those conversations and just kind of tap into how you feel and weigh it against the logic. You know, so if you feel really, really upset about something, but like logically it maybe isn't a big deal, that's probably the Mercury retrograde in Cancer. This is definitely a time to slow down. Anytime that we have a planet in retrograde, it's a time for us to slow down and kind of reflect on what that planet rules. So just kind of taking some time, maybe taking a break from technology, like if you're on social media a lot, taking a break from that. I know for me, I've noticed since the shadow period, which is 2 weeks before the actual retrograde, so really kind of since maybe like 3rd, 4th of June, it's kind of hard for me to be on social media. Like I used to just like scroll and you know, look at stuff, but it's just really hard for me to be on there now. So if that's something that resonates for you, you're really being invited to kind of take a step back from social media. Cancer is a sign of nurturing self-love. So while you're slowing down, make sure that you're giving yourself lots of extra self-love, whatever that is for you. For some people, it's being in nature. For some people, it has to do with like your nutrition and your health. For some people, it's extra sleep. You know, for some people, it's extra socializing, extra like connection time. Another astrological thing that is going on this week is the 20th, 21st of June is the solstice. If you're, you know, in the northern hemisphere, that's the summer solstice. For people in the southern hemisphere, that's the winter solstice. But this is a time of big shifts, you know, when we're shifting seasons, you know, shifting from spring to summer. And also it is the solar eclipse. I can't remember which sign it's in. I think I can't remember which sign it's in, but we'll do, because it's an eclipse, I'll do another card reading on that. So Mercury goes retrograde, I think Wednesday, this weekend, the following weekend, we're gonna have the eclipse and the summer solstice. So just a lot of stuff going on, which is why I've done a little bit longer card readings, a little bit more options for the decks. So as I said, there's 3 options. So card reading 1, 2, or 3. If you want to take a couple minutes to pick the one that feels right for you, go ahead and do so. As I said before, you're welcome to watch all 3 of them. If they resonate with you, if you know of someone that would like to see them, I would love it if you would share them. If you comment, just give me some feedback on what you think. So go ahead and choose your card reading, and I will put the timestamps below. If you chose card reading number 1, the 3 decks I have for you are the Happy Tarot, the Super Attractor Oracle deck, and the Power of Love Oracle. So I've chosen 3 tarot cards and then an oracle card from each deck. So let's get into the reading. Oh, okay, these are, I always feel bad when I look at these and you guys are probably like, what is it? And I'm like, oh, it's so good. Okay, the first card that has come up for you is a Ben of Cats. No, what do you want, buddy? Come on. Sorry, I apologize for the delay, the cat delay. Okay, get comfy. The first card that I've chosen for you is the Temperance card. And so if you've watched any of the other readings, I really enjoy the Temperance card because this is a card that's really encouraging us to not necessarily find balance. To find balance. I think of the Justice card with this, but really Justice is about creating balance, wrongs being righted in the universe. But Temperance is really kind of calling you to take some time to just get if we look at her, just to get calm and just to figure out what we need to kind of stand in, if that makes sense. If you see she's got 1 foot in the water and 1 foot on the ground, and she's got her 2 cups where she's pouring the water back and forth to temper them. There's this big sunlight overhead, just really positive. The look on her face is just so calm. And so to me, this is very much about Mercury retrograde, that this is a time that you can get still and get quiet and kind of calm your mind, calm your energy, calm your space, and just figure out what needs to be rebalanced in your life. Over those 3 weeks of Mercury retrograde, and even during this week of shadow period, you can take the time to just kind of step back and decide what is a priority for me and what is no longer a priority for me. This card is really empowering you because it's a major arcana card. This card's really empowering you to decide, where do you want to stand? Where do you want to, I don't want to say divide your energy, but where do you want to split your energy? Do you want to invest part of your energy in, being in the water, and part of your energy in being on the ground, being grounded, being, rooted? So that's the first card that's come up for you. The second card is, this is the part of the video where I have to take a break because Ben needs to figure out how he's gonna fit all of himself on my tiny lap. Are you good? You comfy? Okay, don't move. All right. Yeah. Okay, so the second card that I've chosen for you guys is Queen of Cups, which is it's just such a beautiful card. This Queen of Cups, did you see the cat hair flying by? Sorry, I'm so easily distracted. Okay, this Queen of Cups is really just inviting you to, if you look at her little face, there's these little angels here, it's so cute. She's really just basking in the love, the good energy, the positivity of this time. So there's a really negative connotation around Mercury retrograde because technology goes awry. Sometimes we have car problems. I was driving back from someplace yesterday and I saw 4 people broken down on the side of the road, and was like, oh man, Mercury retrograde. Because it has to do with technology, and a lot of our cars are literally they're run by computer chips, just our phones, computers, all those things. And so Mercury retrograde, sometimes people can get really kind of weary and nervous about it. And Mercury retrograde is not always a bad time, especially because now it's in Cancer. Cancer is the mother of the zodiac, very much about nurturing, very much about maternal energy, caretaking, self-care, caring for others, so this Queen of Cups is just really inviting you to take the time to really honor yourself, to just bask in, you know, and receive like whatever love is coming your way. And I just feel like, I mean, what better card could you get for Mercury retrograde, right? And so the next card that's come up is another Queen card, and this is the Queen of Wands. And so wands are about action, and queens are, they're a little bit different than the energy in a king card. Like the energy in the Queen card is much more about intentional action with the Queen of Wands. So, you know, King of Wands is just taking that action because you know, like you're really grounded and rooted in who you are. And not to say that the Queen is not, but, you know, when we think about what the, you know, kind of the symbolism of the cards, like the Queen is very much about the people in her kingdom, caring for the people in her kingdom. In like a fair and balanced way. The king is much more about defending the people in his kingdom as far as like caretaking, you know, providing resources, you know, obtaining land, defending the castle, defending the land, things like that. But the Queen is much more about care, intentional planning, intentional thought for what is fair. And so if you are someone that struggles with self-care because you feel like it's kind of something that's selfish, self-centered, which it is not, but I understand the feeling that it is, because especially, you know, just our society, like it's selfish to focus on only yourself, you know, that we're kind of rewarded for being martyrs, we're rewarded for self-sacrificing. So if you are struggling with really putting yourself first, taking care of yourself first, this Queen of Wands is inviting you to take the action on what feels best for you without neglecting others. You know, I'm really kind of calling you to pay attention to and think about like, where are you putting others before yourself? You know, because like the Queen doesn't sacrifice of herself to take care of her kingdom. Like she's balancing everything. She's considering everything, you know, so this is definitely not a time to be a martyr, which is kind of on the shadow side of Cancer because, you know, this Mercury retrograde is in Cancer. So if you find that you are becoming more aware that you need to do self-care, but the inclination is, you know, but I have all these other things to do for other people, or but, you know, this, or what if I come across as this way, like whatever those excuses are that are preventing you from taking action on the self-care, like this card's really calling you to think about that, become aware of it. You know, the Temperance is inviting us to balance, you know, so even if we look at all of these together, you know, the Temperance is inviting us to create a balance between like deep self-care and old programming that says that it's not okay for us to put ourselves first. So the Super Attractor card that I have pulled for you is, instead of worrying about the future, I know all is well when I'm aligned in the moment. And so this is, to me, this is another card that looks like a queen. So got a lot of like queen energy in this reading, which is really good. You know, and I don't know, I just love these cards. So one thing I will say about alignment is that it can be really tricky, you know, so I'll read this again. It says, instead of worrying about the future, I know all is well when I'm aligned in the moment. And so in the context of this card, I feel like alignment is very much about being present in the moment. You know, alignment, I think, is like a really big kind of spiritual term that kind of like surrender. It's very difficult to explain, but the best remedy for worrying about the future is to be present in the moment. So how do we do that? How do we become present in the moment? It can be as simple as just taking a few breaths and really feeling into your body what it feels like to breathe, whether that's feeling the breath enter, you know, your nose and throat, whether that's feeling the expansion of your chest and your stomach as you breathe, whether that's just getting calm and quiet, like turning off the TV and just sitting in the quiet and being aware of what sounds there are outside, being aware of like how it feels to sit wherever you're sitting, being aware that there's a cat cleaning himself on your lap. So this card's just really inviting you to be in the present moment when you start to worry about things. And then the final card I have for you is the Power of Love card, and it's the card of responsibility. It says, you are aware of the power of your thoughts and the amount of love you express. And I would like to take that a step further and, you know, remind you that you are responsible for your self-care. You are responsible for releasing the old programming that says it's not okay to take care of yourself. And you are responsible for determining what priorities you want to have and not have in your life during this Mercury Retrograde, Solar Eclipse, Solstice. You know, we're coming into a new season, and you're being invited to be responsible, take responsibility for what is best for you. Because responsibility oftentimes feels like something that's very external, right? That we're responsible for paying our bills and, you know, getting to work on time and taking care of our kids and, you know, doing all these things that we need to do. But very rarely do we talk about the responsibility of us to take care of ourselves. So I would just like to remind you of that you have the power to take care of yourself. You have the power to love yourself. You have the power to decide what is a priority and what is not a priority for you anymore. So if you chose card reading number 1, oops, that was your reading. If you chose card reading number 2, I have pulled cards for you from the Light Seers Tarot, which is like one of my favorite. It's just so beautiful. The Sacred Traveler Oracle deck, and the Wisdom for Healing cards from Carolyn Miss. So the first card for you from, sorry, I got Ben running around being a wild animal. Let's see, is Brandy still? Oh, look at this sleepy baby. Look at this sleepy girl. Okay, the first card that I have pulled for you from the Light Seers Tarot is the Hierophant. And so when we look at this card, this is very much a different depiction of the traditional tarot, if you're familiar with the traditional tarot. In the traditional tarot, the Hierophant is very much like a religious figure. He's got two people kind of bowing down, looking to him for guidance. And this version of the Hierophant is much more about spirituality than religion. And, you know, we've got the staircase leading up to the space of enlightenment with these beautiful kind of, I don't even know what this is, like it's like a flower mandala, and this Hierophant is just, he's joyful, he's laughing, he's happy, and so to me this really feels like you're coming into this place of like awakening, enlightening growth, but it's not it's not uncomfortable and painful. I think a lot of times, like when we experience spiritual growth and we have kind of those growing pains in spirituality, this is very much not that. So this almost feels like a really easy, gentle evolution that instead of, gosh, if you watched any of the videos where I talk about, you know, the way that the universe can kind of serve us lessons, where maybe we'll say something, for instance, one of the last podcasts that I did, I think the episode was called I Can Still Eat Cheetos and Be Woke as Fuck, and then about 2 weeks after that, I developed a gluten intolerance, and I had to get off of dairy. I had like this really extreme like intestinal inflammation, and so I feel like that was kind of the universe saying like, that's really cute that, you know, you think that you can eat like garbage, which I was doing for so long, and that you can still continue to ascend spiritually. Like your body is a vessel for your spiritual ascension. So no more gluten, no more dairy, no more Cheetos. Unless you guys know of gluten-free Cheetos or dairy-free Cheetos, then message me. and my body probably won't let me eat those either. But so with this Hierophant card, we see that there's these stairs, right? And this isn't like a tug of war to spiritual enlightenment, like that, you know, you're being presented with a very clear, easy way to get to your next level of growth, which is, I mean, if that's not a really fortunate blessing, I don't know what is, because the hard way is really hard. So the next card that I have pulled for you is the Queen of Pentacles. And so I really like that there's this kind of ease and flow of growth paired with Queen of Pentacles. You know, if you've had any kind of money scarcity issues, if you've been working through money mindset issues, this is probably really going to resonate with you, because when we look at her, you know, she's got her pentacle, which is very large, and she's just kind of holding on to it very calmly. There's not any clinging, there's not any fear. I mean, like when we look at her face, there's so much calmness, the sprouting, the growth. This is, if you've been worrying about business or money, this is going to be definitely like a time of ease with money. So either you're going to start seeing your money flow in again, or you're going to see that like some of those bills that you were worried about, some of those financial obligations that you were worried about are going to, I don't want to say fall away, but there's going to be kind of an opening or an expansion where maybe you are granted like a bigger grace period. Maybe they remove the late fees. Like there's just a lot of financial crazy stuff going on right now. But definitely these two together, like this ease of growth, as well as this Queen of Pentacles and like this just calmness about money. The third card that I pulled for you is the Knight of Swords. And as we can see, you know, knights are about action. But in this card, he's taking action to move towards something. He's got this kind of spirit guide here, this animal guide. And so swords are a card of mindsets. So if you've been thinking about making a move, you've been contemplating taking action on something, if you've been unsure if you should take those next steps, like this is really confirmation that yes, it's time. You've thought through it, you've made a plan, like you've weighed the pros and cons. It's safe to go, and because like, or it's safe to move, it's safe to take off on whatever that thing was that you were planning, worrying about, unsure about. With this kind of animal guide here, the spirit guide, I feel like this is kind of just a symbol that you're being supported in taking that action. That, you know, if you're still unsure, know that this move is being supported by source, and it's time for you to go and really go full force. Like this is, again, you know, with this card, this Hierophant card is really about ease and grace of growth. You know, for this guy, he's taking off running, but he has this motorcycle. So, you know, this initial burst of energy is going to get him to the vessel that's going to take him. So this is not necessarily about like struggle and hardship anymore. So if you were really struggling, I would say over the last couple months, like really during quarantine and even coming out of quarantine, like that's gonna start lifting. I feel like this is definitely for, if you are a small business owner, if you are an entrepreneur, if you kind of work on your own and you're not sure if you should get out there and start working again, I feel like this is definitely the card telling you that yes, it's time to take action. The money's going to come back in, and it's going to be a lot easier than you think it's going to be. So the Sacred Traveler Oracle card that I've pulled for you is Wandering Path, and it's Enjoy the Journey. So let me pull this Knight of Swords again. So I have this little fox, and he has a map, but he looks so mischievous. He's like, I'm just going to go wherever this path leads, or I'm just going to go wherever I decide to go. Yes, I have a map. Do I need to stick to it? Do I need to follow it? Do I need to be fearful of what happens if I don't stay on the path? No. And so I feel like these two paired together, you know, especially with this message of enjoy the journey. You know, now is the time to take action. Now is the time to run and get on that bike and go and follow the higher guidance you're being given, and just allow yourself to enjoy that journey. Enjoy wherever it takes you, because you're really being blessed with like grace and ease right now. That whatever those fears were about money, energy, time, those are really kind of falling away. And so the Wisdom of Healing card that I've pulled for you is Visualize a Healthy Body and Mind. And so it says, today's lesson is visualize yourself as a completely healthy person inside and out. Do one thing that brings you closer to achieving that state. Your goal is to do whatever it takes to become the healthiest you possible. And so I would like to remind you that health is not always about physical body. You know, just like this card, you know, we have this person that is holding on to this vision of what she looks like really skinny, is really what this, you know, kind of represents, that the shape that she is right now is not satisfactory. She's clinging to what she thinks will come if she looks like this, you know, because I mean, visualizing a healthy body and mind often has to do with how we look, our aesthetics. And I would like to invite you to expand that to really focus on the mind part, you know, because our minds and our bodies are connected. So when our mind is a mess, a lot of times we feel it in our body. If you are someone that suffers from anxiety or depression, that starts here in the mind. You know, anxiety is this fear of things that are coming, fear of the future, and that can result in, like, you know, tightness in the chest, like heart beating really quickly, sometimes stomach issues, you know. And swords, Knight of Swords, is very much about the mindset. Depression is a fear of, an inability to release the past, a clinging to the past, holding on to the past. And that can also cause us physical issues as well. Like if you think about depression being like a really thick chain with a hook at the end, and it's hooked in really tightly to the past, it makes it very difficult for us to move forward. It's like we're dragging all this baggage, and when you're dragging weight that's too heavy, you become sluggish, you become really tired. There's exhaustion, and those are symptoms with depression. A lot of times people with depression will oversleep. They talk really slowly, they move really slowly. And so, you know, our energy and our minds, our physical energy, our spiritual energy, our energetic body is something that's very much affected by like our physical body and our mind, you know. And so sorry, the back of this card talks about visualizing the most healthy version of you, and like, what does that look like, and how can you take steps towards that? And so, you know, this for you, this may be changing the way that you eat. It also may be becoming very aware of like how much fear and anxiety you hold. It may be becoming very aware of any resistance you have to ease and grace in your life, any resistance you have to joy. I mean, when we look at this guy, he's just laughing. What is he laughing about? There's a staircase. Who knows? You know, but it could be that he's been struggling for so long that now that there's this open path to him, he's just overjoyed about it. So I would just encourage you to look at what a healthy body and mind means for you, because I think we're socialized that a healthy body is being skinny, but that's not an indicator of health. I mean, that's an indicator of size, which size doesn't equal health, you know. And like we are just now kind of coming into a time when we talk about like healthy minds, you know, and what does that look like for you? You know, like, do you have a healthy relationship with joy? Do you have a healthy relationship with grace and ease? Are those things that you're really resistant to? And if you are, why? The last statement says your goal is to do whatever it takes to become the healthiest you possible. And this do whatever it takes is a very loaded statement, right? Because that kind of takes our minds to like the extreme. But some days, like, doing whatever it takes to maybe have a healthy mindset might be just not watching the news. That might be it. Like, doing whatever it takes doesn't have to be something massive and huge. Like, we make the best changes, or we make the most long-lasting changes by taking baby steps. So, you know, I would like to invite you to take some time today to think about, you know, how can I accept and look for more grace and ease in my life? How can I accept and look for more joy and happiness in my life? How can I look for and accept more calmness, more stillness, more faith and growth? And how can I trust the signs and synchronicities and the higher power that's in my life? So if you chose card reading number 2, that was your reading. If you chose if you chose card number 3, if you chose card reading number 3, I've pulled cards for you from the I can't talk. This is the 3rd reading and my mouth doesn't work anymore. Okay, here's a sleepy Brandy. Look at her. Oh, she's so cute. She says, I was sleeping, lady. Oh, okay. So, if you chose card reading number 3, I have pulled cards for you from the Psychic Tarot. We have a Grumpy Brandy here, the Power of Surrender Oracle deck, and the Healing Mantra deck. So, you okay? Sorry I woke you up, little. Sorry. Oh, she's extra sweet today. Okay, so the first card that I have for you is Partnerships and Alliances. So this is, I always have a hard time with, like, there's a blue and like a purple, and I can't tell them apart when I don't have them next to each other. And I can't remember which is which, so it doesn't really matter. This is the 3 of something, which is the Partnerships and Alliances card. So in numerology, the number 3 is a number of celebration. It's a number of creativity, joy. So this is really positive. So when you look at this card, we've got 2 people that are kind of gripping each other's forearms in, it really feels like body language of support. You know, that like, I am willing to pull you up, I'm willing to assist you, I'm willing to help you. You've got these flags here, you know, that are kind of coming together. Even like the blue and purple, you know, blue is, could be throat chakra, could be third eye, purple's crown chakra. To me, this feels like alliances often make me think of like business, but I feel like this is, you're coming into a time when like you're gonna start to meet more people that are like you, if that makes sense. Like if you've been trying to call in tribe, if you've been trying to call in really deep, kind of intimate, like solid, grounded, aware friendships, like if you've been trying to call in friendship or partnership with someone that is at your level, if that makes sense, this is a really positive card for that. And this is, you know, sometimes like when we want to call in people to help us grow spiritually, to support us in our spiritual growth, like sometimes it can be kind of heavy, you know, because we get to talking about things that we've gone through to get to a place of growth. And a lot of times the things that grow us are painful. Like the things that grow us are really hard. They're really difficult experiences that sometimes we have to experience on our own, like kind of trauma, conflict that we've dealt with other people. This is not that. So with this 3, this is very much about like positivity, joy, creativity. So it just feels like the people that you're calling in, whether it's like business partners, friends, you know, intimate partners, like these are going to be really positive relationships. And as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, like we're coming into Mercury retrograde in Cancer, and this very much feels like learning how to ask for what you need, coming into relationships where it's safe to ask for what you need. For a lot of us, it's really hard to ask for what we need. Maybe we weren't raised that way. You know, a lot of times for women, we're socialized that it's not okay to ask for what we need because it feels like we're demanding. And I would venture to say that even happens with men as well, you know. So as human beings, it's hard to ask for what we need because we've been socialized that needing is being needy and being needy is being weak. But for me, I've done like a lot of kind of mindset work on neediness, and it just I feel like neediness gets a bad rap because like our bodies are needy for food, you know, and if we were like, oh my gosh, I'm hungry, I haven't eaten in like 4 hours, nobody would be like, oh my gosh, you're so needy. No. Neediness has this connotation that like if you are asking me to provide something in relationship and I don't want to, I will project the blame back on you and claim that you're needy. Like, as human beings, there are things that we need that it's difficult to ask for. You know, sometimes we need space. Sometimes we need private time. Sometimes we need more physical affection. Sometimes we need to be able to talk and just let things out and not have them be fixed. So the evolution in your relationships, the people that you're calling in, the relationships that you're developing, growing, they're going to be really positive. And there's a lot of reciprocity here. It's very much mutual. You know, that while this person looks like they're pulling someone else up, this person's also holding on, you know, to maintain their grip as well. That, you know, if this person was lifting them up and they weren't, and this bottom person wasn't holding on, that would be like this imbalance, right? That like, you just pull me up, I don't have to do any work. But in this, there's very much a balance of like, yes, you're pulling me up, but I also have to do my part to hold on and get myself up there as well. So that was the first card. The next card I have for you is Firm Foundation. And so we are in a 4 universal year. This is a 4 card. And when we look at this card, sorry, apologize for the glare. There's this mountain here. It's very much triangular. And then we've got this triangle here at the base, you know, kind of lower back of this person. And to me, this very much feels like kind of standing in our power, like understanding what our power is. Because when we look at this person's posture, they're wide open, you know, and they've got their kind of head down and like looking back a little bit, but it's not a posture of self-doubt. Is it okay? Like, can I move forward? Is this all right? It feels like you're very much aware of everything that you've come through, and you have a strong sense of knowing who you are, how you got there, what is important to you, and a lot of confidence in moving forward. So if you had a really difficult time the last couple months, really since kind of the beginning of 2020, like if you're one of the folks that was really, really optimistic that this was going to be like an amazing year and just kind of got gut punched when it really wasn't, that, you know, all of that happened for you to be able to really kind of go through some things to release what was no longer serving you and learn how to stand firm in what is truly you. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I feel like there's, over the last, I don't know, what is this, 4 or 5 months now, there's been a lot of purging, like especially the time that we were in quarantine or kind of really isolated. That was the time a lot of us had to deal with our stuff. You know, for some people, that was the first time that they were able to sit in the quiet and not have all these distractions and really have to deal with the stuff that came up, like inabilities to have healthy communication, like family conflict, fear of being alone, discomfort with being with themselves, going through all of that stuff that came up, and really learning who you are and who you be and where you stand. So if you felt like those last couple months were really hard, but you haven't taken stock of how far you come, this card's really inviting you to do that, to take some time and think about how much you've grown in these last couple months, because you've grown a lot. And so the final psychic tarot card that I have is the crown chakra card. And so this card is number 7, because it's the 7th chakra. 7 is also a number that's in numerology is associated with spirituality, God, source, intuition, you know, and they're very much the same things that are associated with the crown chakra. So you're really in a place of energetic balance, or balanced energy. So, you know, red is the color of the root chakra. This is very much like the base of your energy, the lower back. You know, your root chakra is located in the very bottom of your torso, like right below where your tailbone is. It's the color red, you know, and so the crown chakra is at the top of our body. So this is really, to me, a time of like energetic integration, energetic balance, like all systems go, all your chakras are really turning on. So if you felt kind of sluggish, I would say like the last month, you're going to start to feel really energized. You know, like things are just kind of coming online with, I feel like, especially like because we are coming into the summer solstice, like this energetic shifting of, not even seasons, because we've, you know, winter solstice in December and then the summer solstice for America in June. This is really a shifting of energy, you know, that like we're kind of doing a 180, you know. In the winter solstice, like it's a time when like things get, like the days are much shorter. The winter solstice is the shortest day of the year, a lot more darkness, a lot more introspection. And so with this summer solstice, there's this expansion, this opening. And so, you know, you're gonna feel, I don't even feel like feel is the right word. You're going to notice, experience that there's gonna be a lot more synchronicities. If you're seeing a lot of triple numbers, if you're noticing on the clock that you look and it's like 11:11, like for myself, like yesterday, I happened to look at the clock at like 2:22 and 3:33. I don't usually like check the time, especially on the weekends, because what is time? Who cares? But for me, you know, it was kind of like, okay, those are my angels kind of letting me know that they're there. That's what it means for me when I see triple numbers. So synchronicities, intuitive nudges, triple numbers, like things like that, you're going to see a lot of those, a lot more. And that's just letting you know that you're up leveling, that, you know, you've got this firm foundation in who you are. And that root chakra is very much about safety, security, yeah, like how we find safety in ourselves. And the crown chakra, as we move up the chakras, it's literally like the way that we are moving towards enlightenment from the bottom to the top, you know, growth. And so, you know, this is just really a time of up leveling for you. It's really positive, really well earned. Like I feel like you've been through a lot and you're getting to this place where like things are kind of opening, which is really positive. So the Power of Surrender card that I've pulled for you is Surrender Worry. And the message is, make a commitment not to lead an anxiety-driven life. When worries arise, breathe them out of your body. Focus on the power of your heart and have faith that Spirit is always guiding you. So I'm going to read that again because I feel like it's important. Make a commitment not to lead an anxiety-driven life. So that means like not operating out of anxiety, not operating out of fear. Perfect example. If you live in a place that masks are not required and you feel like, I don't need to wear a mask, why am I wearing a mask? And then you decide not to wear it, but the fear that comes up is like, oh my gosh, but I'm gonna get sick and die. Or, oh my gosh, they're gonna kick me out. Or, oh my gosh, what are people gonna think of me? Like that reaction is, you know, fear. Just like if you have the opposite, you know, feeling where it's like, okay, I'm gonna wear my mask because I feel like that's best for me. And then the fear comes up or the anxiety comes up that's like, oh my gosh, what are people gonna think of you because you're young and healthy? You don't need a mask. Or nobody else is wearing a mask. Why are you wearing one? That's so weird. So just kind of being aware of like that kind of mental talk that comes up in response to the choices that you make, that sometimes that's anxiety and that's fear. And when we operate based on those things, that is leading an anxiety-driven life. When worries arise, breathe them out of your body. So this is really just deep breathing, you know. If you notice that you're anxious, if you notice that you're worried, if you notice that you're ruminating about things that you can't control, just giving yourself the space to take 3 breaths and kind of visualizing letting go of whatever that worry looks like. For me, worry looks like kind of like this really dark cloud. Like if you've ever seen a car that takes off really fast and the black exhaust comes out, to me, that's what worry looks like when I breathe it out. And then the last statement is, focus on the power of your heart and have faith that Spirit is guiding you always. So you are divinely held, you're divinely guided, you are safe, you are loved. The healing, oh, I didn't even show it to you. Sorry. This is the Surrender Worry card. So the healing mantra card I have for you is releasing expectations. And so the message says, only the highest possibilities come to be, whether I envision them or not. So the surrender worry card talks about have faith that spirit is always guiding you. And, you know, releasing expectations. This message is another invitation to trust that spirit is there, to trust that it's safe to have faith, and understand we live in a benevolent universe and only the best, highest outcomes are coming for you. So even the times that it feels like the things that are happening are difficult and uncomfortable, those things are still for your best, highest growth. That, you know, easy doesn't challenge us. You know, we don't grow from a space of comfort. That, you know, we grow the most, we expand the most, we develop the most through discomfort. And we have to go through some things, right, to develop that firm foundation in ourselves. We have to experience some trials and tribulations to know our strength and our confidence in where we stand. And so this is just a reminder that, you know, whether you envision the highest possibility or not, that is what is coming for you, because that's the universe we live in, and that's what happens when you do the work. So if you chose card reading number 3, that was your reading. Thank you so much for joining me for coffee or water and connect. I hope you guys have a great week. I hope that Mercury Retrograde is kind to you, is gentle, that you do your best not to resist any lessons that come up. I'll be doing the same. I hope that you have a wonderful eclipse. I will be back for an eclipse reading next week. I'm really excited about this one. I don't know why. I just am. Like, it just, in my gut, like, I just feel excited. I was really excited for the last one too. And it's just been really positive overall. So I hope you guys enjoyed the reading. Please like, share, and subscribe. And yeah, I will see you next week. Bye.